everybody, my name is Travis Banks, aka the Kiwi Buzzsaw, aka the Peak of Perfection, Travis Banks. Actually, that was an old name that I used to use in New Zealand. Sorry, I tried to put my stopwatch on. Sorry. Yeah, that was the old name that I used to use in New Zealand many moons ago. Because quite essentially, what I thought was that I wasn't just perfect in the ring, I was actually the peak of perfection. No, actually, the name came from a butcher shop in Wainoiamara where it said on the window of like it was selling meats and advertising and stuff. It said the Peak of Perfection Butchery, and took that, Frankensteined it, and attached it to myself, and that's what I was called. So that's a little bit of history about myself that I thought I would share with you guys right now. Anyway, what's up with wrestling? This is Buzztalk episode 16, I believe. Jessica Jackson is still in. Sorry, guys. I say this every time, and I know it becomes a bit of a broken record, but if you live in Mexico, you cannot escape dogs barking. And as soon as I hit record, every single time without fail, they start barking. There's this little, I don't know what it is. It looks like a dachshund, like a little brown one, that literally lives on the roof next door, and he barks. And I'm not even exaggerating. 24/7, and I don't know how the owners don't have a problem with this. You see what I'm saying? Like, how can they be like, yeah, just sitting in my chair, watching TV, and this dog's fucking going off. Anyway, that's my rant over. So yeah, Jessica Jackson is still in Japan, and she has a show this Sunday. And best of luck to her. I know she's gonna kill it. I know she has all the tools to be a massive superstar. Go and kill it. Do it for me. Knock it out of the park. Kisses, hugs, and all that stuff to you. What we're gonna do today, I thought just update you a little bit on my weekend and the many shows that I had it in a row lined up. Boom, good business. 4 shows back to back to back that I wasn't able to do because of my knee. I'll get onto it in a second. And yeah, and some shows that I've been confirmed for that I'm really excited about. And then I thought maybe we'll do some questions and talk a little bit about my experience in Japan when I was there in 2012. So, first and foremost, on the weekend, I was in Guatemala, more specifically, Coatepeque. 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 I don't know, whatever. I think that's how you say it. The last time I went to Guatemala, me and Jess, we had a fantastic time. We were put up in a 5-star hotel. Uh, all the food was paid for. Denny's, it was just a luxury living in Mexico. Was there? It was amazing. We went to Antigua, which is an old town, touristy town, rammed with people. It was what an incredible trip. And this time it was, whilst it was still good, it was the complete kind of opposite in experience. And yeah, so what happened was we flew to Tapachula, which is on the border of Guatemala. Flew to Tapachula, got a taxi, drove to the border of Guatemala, and we had to walk across it. Now, I've walked across the Mexico US border before, and it's a big system, a lot of people, this and that, and blah, blah. Walking across the Mexico Guatemalan border, there was one lady on a desk that just stamped our passports, and that was all. And we didn't get checked, we didn't get searched, nothing. And then you had to walk across like a fucking 2 kilometer bridge in the fucking, and because I'm a white guy, I wear tanning like cream in the bloody Guatemalan sun. I may as well not have put any on for the show because I just sweated it all off. Then when we got to the then when we got to the other side of the bridge, there was transport waiting for us. It was like me, Murder Clown, Dave the Clown, Arginus, Abismo Negro. Mm, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. The new Taurus, the new Bengala. Uh, I'm missing some people here. I can't really think. Paca Negra. We all walked across. Transport was waiting for us on the other side. In my mind, I was thinking back to the last time I was in Guatemala. Picked up in a bloody shuttle, and it was not that. It was a van, dented, dented as fuck. No windows, no sliding door on the side. All our bags went on top. He just tied it down with a piece of like rope, and I was thinking, fuck. No, obviously no fucking no air conditioning, which is whatever. But it was just because I was sweating so much. I was like, fuck. And then yeah, we got taken to the hotel. It was fine. It was just small. Again, not a 5-star hotel like I was led to believe like last time. And yeah, and then we had a couple hours sleep, went to the show. Now, I've been dealing with this leg injury for fucking 5 weeks now, this knee injury, and it was been slowly getting better. I have a great physiotherapist, and he's doing all that he can, and it was feeling great. And I knew this match in itself was going to be fairly simple, that I could never navigate around the injury. So I was feeling pretty confident, and my leg was feeling really good. I could get, like, I had it moving properly, no pain, nothing, and you know, fucking, that's always the case, isn't it? Like, just because there's no pain doesn't mean it's not injured. And we are setting up the match, talking about it, blah blah blah, and then I was just warming up, doing the most minuscule jumps on the balls of my feet, and my knee clicked, and there was so much pain. Um, so I had to quickly reshuffle the match around to get through it. Um, Went out and did the match. Fine. It was whatever. It was a match that happened. I was more focused on protecting my knee than anything else. And it's so hard when you're injured like this, where I can't like move properly, to like even focus on being like myself, my character, who I am as a professional wrestler. So it gets a little like stressful, and so yeah, so I just knew, because then the following days I had Monterrey, I had Nuevo Laredo, and I had Aeroporto, and I just knew I couldn't do it, so I had to cancel the next three bookings. Yeah, so after the match, try to ice it and whatever, and try to not have a mental breakdown about it. Just because it's just been an ongoing little issue. Again, nothing too serious. It's just one of the things that needs time. Went back to the hotel, slept, whatever. Um, and then my everybody's flight the next day, apart from me, Dave the Clown, and Murder Clown. Next flight, apart from us three, everybody had flights in the morning to go back to Mexico City. We didn't have a flight until 4 in the afternoon, so we had to like just kill some time at the airport. But fortunately, one of the luchadors from the area came and, oh, well, that was the thing. Sorry, we got picked up again in a different van, no windows, no sliding door. What? Are these fans like, just what the hell is going on in Guatemala, man? Drove back to the border, got our passport stamped, whatever. Had to walk 2Ks across this bridge on a fucking bum knee, and I was just cursing myself the whole time how stupid I was. Yeah, and then we went to the airport. I had to wait until 4. I was in just so much pain. I had to go get some painkillers. Unfortunately, like a luchador from the area picked us up and and took us to a mall, and just hung out for a few hours and ate some food and whatever else. But fuck, I'll tell you what. Oh yeah, we went and got breakfast, went and hung out at this mall, and then just sleeping on the tables in the food court. I was just like, this is the life, guys. Life of a bloody professional wrestler. Then I came back and yeah, cancelled all my dates and went and seen my physio the very next day. He like slipped, like he got me in immediately, and um yeah, I just can't say enough good things about him, because he's really helped me out and made me not freak out so much about my knee. So just need a couple more, 3 more weeks, something like that, to get it right completely. I've been doing this thing. It's called I don't. It's like Condron. I don't remember. It's something that you inject under the kneecap to like help with regeneration of the meniscus and your ligaments. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but then it goes on from this treatment to the next treatment, which is like 25 days, which is PRP, is where they take some blood, centrifuge it, and take the plasma out, and then inject the plasma back into your knee to help stimulate regeneration. Um, I didn't even know if, yeah, that. I don't know too much about it, but I was like, just fix my knee, man. I don't care. So yeah, so that's that. So I had to cancel these three events, and it's super stressful. However, at the same time, Lucha Libre Elite, or Liga Elite, is started up again. A big company here in Mexico. For those that don't know, there's AAA, there's CMLL at the very top, and then like the next ones down are kind of like Chaos, The Crash, and Liga Elite. So there I got announced for their show. My match is me versus Gravity versus Ray Horace. So that's in like 3 weeks. So I need to get my knee ready. That's why I took these dates off. So yeah, that's big. I went and did a photo shoot for it. Super professional. I've got like hundreds of photos that like I can't wait to like put onto my social media and stuff like that. They look like Mortal Kombat. He's made me look like a Mortal Kombat character, which is incredible. Um, so yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's pretty much all my big news in terms of that and what I've been up to. So yeah, um, I thought I'd talk a little bit about Japan. I don't want to go too in depth about it. Just a few stories here and there. Like, I went there in 2012, end of 2012. I think it was in November that I got there, or like the end of November, because I left around my birthday of the next year. Yeah, so I went with 01 Japan. The way that came about was 01. Um how do I say this? There was two wrestlers, Damian Slater and Hartley Jackson from Australia, and they went to 01, and they then facilitated tryouts for Australian wrestlers to then go and do like 3 month tours for 01. They would have those tryouts in Australia, and every year or whatever. I don't remember at this point like what it was, but I remember one year in particular that they didn't. For some reason they called it off. They called off the tryout in Australia, and I saw it as an opportunity myself to be like. I messaged them immediately like, guys, I think I have like 8 to 10 guys here in New Zealand that I could get to do a tryout if you guys want to come here. Um, and to be honest, like it was kind of like a ploy in a way as well, because I wanted to kind of like show them that I was like responsible enough to do this and like make it happen and make it work. So we put it together. We put the tryout in New Zealand, brought the boys over, brought Damien and brought Hartley over, and we did the tryout. And lucky enough or fortunate enough, they picked me. I trained my fucking balls off for it. It was the hardest day of my life. There was so much sprinting and cardio involved, but like in my mind, I was so like, there's nothing. I was like, I would rather die and collapse than give up on these drills and these cardio things. And I remember, I had to like take the next day off work because my legs were like, I couldn't even use them. So yeah, and then I won the tryout, and subsequently I went to 01, lived in Tokyo for 3 months in an apartment, which was one of the greatest experiences of my life. It was incredible. It was what I needed at that time in my career to really boost myself up and like and think about wrestling in a different way, and think about it in a way of it being like a job instead of kind of just as it was in New Zealand at the time, a hobby. And yeah, being paid to wrestle my first tour was incredible. The trainers were Shinjiro Otani, Okuda Hidaka, and Masato Tanaka of ECW fame, and that was every day. Every day would wake up, go down to the dojo, squats, cardio, shoot fighting, bumps, bumps and ring drills and stuff like that every single day, unless there was a show or there was what was the day after the show we would have the day off, and that was kind of like the proper young boy training. Um, yeah, and it was just a massive, massive eye opener. It's not for the faint of heart. Like uh, I'm kind of like skipping around a little bit here, but I kind of just want to like touch on a few things that always like stand out to me. One of the trainings that I always remember was one of the drills. Sorry, that I remember. There was crazy things all the time, but this one in particular was one that almost broke me. Was one person would be in a corner, another person would be in a corner, there'd be one guy in the middle. So you got three guys in the ring. The guy in the middle would run to one of the corners, monkey flip that guy. That guy would take a bump, get up, run to the opposite corner, monkey flip that guy. Boom, he would take a bump, he'd get up, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I'm not kidding you. I must have counted that I bumped, well, I got monkey flipped eight, like I want to say 80 times. And by the last 10, I could barely stand up. Like all three of us, we could barely stand up. And I remember I remember walking back to the apartments and just thinking, what the fuck? What am I doing? And in the apartments, we didn't have proper like mattresses for beds. They were just like thin mat rolls, and you would just have like your blankets and stuff over them. And usually, and it was on like a hardwood floor as well. And usually that was like the most uncomfortable thing. But I remember laying down that day and just thinking it was like heaven. It was like the most softest thing in the world after all those bumps. So yeah, and that's not even like half of the stuff that we did either. That was just one of the ones that always stood out to me. I just remember counting like 80 bumps and just thinking, oh, fuck, I don't know if I keep. I was just like, just whatever you do, just keep getting up and keep going. Just keep. As soon as you hit that mat, stand up. Because if you lay down and you stay down, you're not gonna get back up. So that's what I kept trying to move forward. Um, yeah, had some incredible matches there as well. One of my first match in Japan was with Taguya Sugawara, uh, and it was in the middle of a park, and it was raining, and we got told to behave because there was yakuza around. Not like we were gonna be crazy or anything like that. And yeah, so we did this match. Great. I did my corner kick, but because it was raining, I slipped on the ropes a little bit, but it was fine. What a fucking great experience. I was so pumped when I came back as well. Um, I remember my second. I think it was my second match. I wrestled this guy called Craig Classic, who was another foreigner from America. We had this match, and it was in the dojo, and it wasn't particularly great. And I let him plan it because I just trust because he had been there a while. I just trusted him that it was, he would guide me in the right direction. And the match itself wasn't great. And I remember one of the my trainer, sorry, here he goes. This dog downstairs is the absolute worst. Um, oh, hold on, I can hear stuff happening. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so I just trusted him to lead me through this match, right? So it wasn't great. My trainer Okuda Hidaka came, like he says that he came up to us and like this the Japanese are so blunt with their advice. They were just like he was like that wasn't great. That needed this, and this. You need to change this. And I remember like it being a great humbling experience for me. Like it was like a pivotal point. I'm glad that I had that match because it really switched my mindset around about wrestling, how to think about things. So we did that match, and then the very next match was the same match, me versus Craig Classic, but it was in a different city. And I said to Craig, I was like, look, please just let me put this together. Like, I mean, not just me completely. Like, let's have a little bit of back and forth here. So I planned a little bit, and it fucking like it just like hit perfectly. And Hidaka was like, we got to the back, and Hidaka was like, that was fucking fantastic. You guys listened to what we said, this and this and this, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm really fucking starting to understand this. You know, stupidly, probably naively, but like, and I really felt like stuff was starting to click for me. Um, and then so I was having some various great matches, and then it wasn't until, which is going to lead me into the story that I want to tell. Then it wasn't until I had this match at the dojo with this guy called Kohei Sato. Now I don't know if this is true, but he had a massive tiger on his back, and he had been lariated in the throat, so his voice was like really raspy. Well, in Japanese, though, obviously. So he sounded like he was a fucking psychopath. And I think he might have been in the Yakuza because usually if you have tattoos, I don't know exactly if he was or he wasn't, but there was always speculation that he was. I'm not sure. But he was a fucking badass, and he would kick the fuck out of people as well. So they put me against him, and I had never experienced a match like this in my whole life. It was the basic setup of the match, the structure of the match was really, really, really simple. A lot of just back, like a lot of free wrestling, a lot of free strikes that we didn't really plan, and then the back end was all planned out, and like me kicking out of everything, and then he finally wins and beats me, puts me over like to the crowd, and fucking hell, this match was wild. Like it was like I've never been kicked that hard, I've never been struck that hard. Um, but I fucking loved every minute, and I was just giving it back to him. And at that point, I wasn't kind of like the wrestler that I was today, but it definitely laid the foundation of kind of what I wanted to present as a professional wrestler. Because now I'm like that. I do a lot of big strikes, big falsies into the finish. So that was definitely something like that was the genesis of a lot of like my character and the way that I wanted to mold it. And I remember after that match, everybody was like fucking like buzzing about it, and I was clearly buzzing about it. And a lot of cool things were like supposed to happen. The next show after that was supposed to be another dojo show, but no, 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 no. It was a couple shows later because there was a dojo. So what happened was that everybody was happy about that match. I we did this other like this like 6-man tag match like in another dojo show, but in that match a guy got knocked out, and paramedics had to come up to the dojo and take him out. Then the next show again was at the dojo. I was supposed to wrestle Daisuke Sekimoto, which is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Just fucking, just yeah, I love him. He's definitely been up there as guys that I've liked to watch, guys that I've studied when I was in Japan, and I was supposed to wrestle him one on one. And if I had another match just like I had with Kohei, I was gonna go for the 0-1 junior heavyweight title. But because of that fucking guy that got knocked out in the match previous, the fire service or the ambulance or whatever, they shut it down because they were worried about the safety or something. So whatever it was, the dojo show didn't go ahead, and I didn't get those opportunities. So yeah, and then I think I might have said it in the last one about Sekimoto, and I was supposed to wrestle him. Like he's kind of like been elusive, and I've been trying to wrestle him like ever since. So maybe one day we'll get that match. But anyway, the story that I wanted to tell was I so after the match with Kohei, we immediately after the dojo show got into a coach and we went to another city because we had a show the next day. And as is Japanese customs and whatever, when you go there, you usually have a sponsor that will sponsor the wrestlers' dinner and whatever. So we had the hotel checked in. We went out to sponsor the sponsor dinner, one or two drinks at that time, and I was like, oh, okay, we've got to get up because we had to put up the ring at like 7 or 8 in the morning as well for this show. And so we did the dinner, have a couple beers, chatting this and that. I was talking to Masato Tanaka. He used to play rugby, which I had no idea about, and which is crazy because I've just known him as a wrestler. And then he's like, "Yeah, I used to play rugby." Oh fuck. Anyway, so yeah, so then we're all getting into the cabs to go back to the hotel room, and this was just after that Kohei match. And as I was getting into the taxi, Kohei puts his hand on my shoulder. Boom. And he says, "No, tonight, Travis. You drink with me." And I was like, "Oh fuck," because yeah, I don't want to say no as well, because like I was just like, "Oh fuck, this is gonna be mental." All right, here we go. So just me, Kohei. Kohei doesn't speak much English. I don't speak Japanese. We go to a bar, a fan sponsored bar. It was me and Kohei, and might have been one other person. Might have been Daichi Hashimoto. Um, we went to this fans bar, and they were just giving us free drinks all night. Then when like the drinks like well, as far as I knew, as far as the drinks had finished, they started giving us water, and I was like, oh, thank God. I don't think I could handle it anymore. They started giving us water. It wasn't water. I tell a lie. It was shoju, which tastes like water, but it's actually like a rice alcohol. And I was just smashing it back. So I was getting way more drunker than I ever thought possible. And all I remember from this night in this bar was I don't know how it came about, but all the fans that were in there, they wanted us to put those little thin wooden skewers in their head, like jam it into their head. As like you would do in a wrestling match, or like a lucha extreme match or whatever. So all I can remember, just I have this vision of me, Kohei, and Daichi Hashimoto, like laughing of us just jamming like skewers into fans' heads, and they were like bleeding, but they were laughing and like loving it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, we go home. It's maybe 6:30. We're gonna put the ring up at 7:30 or whatever it was. I don't remember. I go in. I go into my hotel room. We're by ourselves. Like everybody had like one hotel room as well. I go in. I go to sleep. I wake up and like there's a few of the boys in my hotel room. Like Travis, everybody's on the bus. I was like, okay, sweet. I'm so drunk at this point. I don't know why I did this. I just go and have a shower. And then they come back like, Travis, get on the fucking. You have to come now. I was like, oh fuck, sorry. Packed all my stuff. Got on the bus. Everyone was like looking at me. And I was just like, sorry guys. Um, go to the venue. I'm I'm in no condition to do any physical labor at this point. We start putting up the ring, and I'm standing there with like a big metal beam, and I'm just like swaying. And Hidaka comes up to me. He's like, Travis, please go to the locker room and just sleep and rest. I was like, thank fuck. I was like, thank you so much. I was like, also it was snowing as well outside, so it was super slippery and stuff. So I was like, thank you so much. It's like so cold as well. So go into the locker room. The locker room is just a room, a concrete room with tables, and that's it. Tables and chairs, and that's it. So I put my bag underneath the yeah, I put my bag underneath one of the tables. And I clearly just remember like putting my jacket over me and then just like going to sleep. But I was looking out the window of like the snow falling. I remember that like clearly. So I go to sleep. Couple hours go by. I wake up and the show is like in say 4 hours or whatever it was. I put my gear on. I go back to sleep. I wake back up. I talk talk about the match. With I had it was a Japanese wrestler called Kamikaze, and he was like a old veteran. So like when it wasn't like a pay per view show, all the house shows would be like super easy. So I woke up again. I talked to him about the match for like 20 minutes. I was like, okay, cool, super easy, no problem. I went back to sleep. I woke up about half an hour before I had to wrestle. I just warmed up real fast. Went out, had the fucking best match. Fuck, one of the best matches I had in Japan. And yeah, and I remember. So we packed up, whatever, and I remember we were coming back early in the morning. I think we might have stayed back at that hotel, and then we were coming back in the morning. And I just remember like on the van or whatever, sleeping, and like as we were going down like the highway back to Tokyo, it was like the crack of like dawn. The sun was coming in. I was hungover like hell, but I was happy. I remember just laying there, looking like my head rested on the window, looking out the side of the van, seeing the sunrise in Japan, hungover as hell. Great match the night before. Match the night before that, and I was fucking like ecstatic. Like it was just everything that I wanted. So yeah, Japan was incredible. There's so much more stories, but I don't have that much time on this podcast right now to dive into it all. But it was one of those times, and I'm hoping this for Jess, like that just really like really focused me as a wrestler and really set a mindset about wrestling in my head uh, to you know to go forward and use that as like a foundation as building blocks to grow into the wrestler that I am today. So yeah, that's not everything of Japan. I just wanted to tell you guys a couple stories, and uh, and yeah. So what I want to do now is we'll probably get into a little bit of bloody questions. Oh yeah. Okay, here we bloody go, boys. What have we got? What have we got here? First question from Jeff278. Where else in the world do you want to wrestle? Ooh, Jeffrey, sir. That's a bloody good question, mate. I've wrestled in 15 different countries, so it's hard to like go to a place that I probably haven't been. Okay. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've in like wrestling history, there's always like places that you hear about like where wrestling has really like you know been and there's a lot of history there and stuff. I've wrestled in America, I've wrestled in Japan, I've wrestled here in Mexico for a long time now. Um, I've wrestled England as well, and there's also always another place on like in the olden days that people would go to and say it was like a great territory, and that's Puerto Rico. I mean, I've wrestled in Costa Rica now. I'm trying to wrestle in Panama. I really want to get into Puerto Rico as well because that was like a big territory for professional wrestling. So that would be, that. And then just places to go back to again, Japan. Japan was fantastic, as you just heard before. So yeah, that was That's probably it. Puerto Rico, go back to Japan would be cool. Um, I'd like to just tour America again. Like touring around America was pretty fun. Like making towns around there was like cool. It's kind of like what I had. It was like kind of like my idea of what I wanted to do when I started out as wrestling. Shit, I just want to fucking. I know the territories weren't a thing like as I was coming up, but like I wanted to feel kind of that sense of like, oh, I have to make it to fucking St. Louis, or I have to make it to here, or make it to Chicago, or whatever, to get to this show or whatever like that. So I think touring America would be cool again. From Renee Orozco, I'm your fan and I follow you. Oh, nice. It was in Spanish. I was just translating it in my head. Sorry, guys. Thanks, Renee. Appreciate that. Oh, here we bloody go. Jessica Jackson Pro. What do you enjoy about doing a podcast? I think, um, what do I enjoy about doing a podcast? I think it just helps. I mean, right now, especially, like, it helps me feel busy. Um, I have a lot of knowledge and stories and time in this business that I don't want to just disappear. So if I can like record it down, get my thoughts out there, maybe it makes me feel a little better. I don't know. But that's I think it's good therapy as well. Like helps me get out and explain things that maybe have just kind of been sitting in my head for a long time. And yeah, and also too, like if any young wrestlers are listening to this and maybe they can take something out of it. Like a lot of guys actually message me and go, "Oh man, I heard this or I heard a story about that." And to me, it's just me talking into a microphone. Like I don't think too much of it, but people message me and they go, "Oh man, I never thought about it like this," or "I heard that story, that was great." Like I've gone through a similar situation or whatever. So I think being able to share my experience in the business with people is probably the best part about doing a podcast. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, and I don't know how to verbalize this, but like, well, Jess, you know this. My iPad that I had for like 12 years had all my Japanese photos and everything and memories and stuff on, and I didn't, being a poor wrestler, I never backed it up to the cloud because I didn't want to spend money. And then, this is not to rip on anybody or try and fucking point the finger, but like, then somebody in the UK stole tried to steal that iPad and fucking subsequently deleted all my photos and all my fucking memories from that iPad. And I just wish that I had that backup, you know. And I feel like if I come on this podcast and tell some stories and get my experience out to the world, at least it will be somewhere and it's saved somewhere. You know, my career doesn't just blow away into the wind. You know what I mean? It doesn't just disappear. The experience that I've experienced are like at least documented somewhere so that you know what I'm saying? Like that when I lost all my shit off my iPad, it was like the most fucking horrendous thing. It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing that anybody's ever fucking done to me, which is saying something. You know what I mean? Because it had photos of this and that. But if I just had it stashed somewhere, saved somewhere, I would feel better about it. And I think podcasting also does that for me here as well. I get a note down the memories and the experiences and think about them later. Maybe if I listen to this back or somebody else listens to it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense in my head, and I think that's all that fucking matters, guys. If you could have anyone's power from the boys universe, who would it be? Oh, what's that guy with the fucking? What's that guy with a long dick? That guy? Oh, I don't remember his name. Hold on, hold on. Here we go. This is what I'm gonna Google. The boys, big dick character. Oh, love sausage. So everybody's looking at my Google search. I'm like, what the fuck? Love sausage. That'll be me. And this is his wiki. Love sausage can fully control his abnormally large penis as though it was a tentacle and use it to strangle his victims. He also has superhuman strength. His penis is strong enough to strangle humans and shatter through glass. He was almost able to knock out mother's milk with one hit. Nah, I wouldn't use that. It's not really me though, is it? Okay, let me think about this because I love the boys. Um, hmm, I like A Train. I like Super Speed. I've always liked Super Speed though, like the Flash and stuff. So that would be pretty cool. I mean, Homelander is pretty much a given because he can do everything. But yeah, I'm trying to think of who else is on there. Ezekiel's pretty cool, like stretchy powers, like Mr. Fantastic. Um, and I'm not sure if I like spoiler alert Butcher's new powers. Yeah, so I think yeah, maybe A Train's super speed would be pretty cool. Yeah, or maybe something like just Soldier Boy, just like a superhuman super soldier. That's pretty cool. I like that too. I don't remember anybody. Oh, do you know what? Kamiko's powers is pretty cool of healing. I mean, it's just Wolverine. It's just Wolverine, but yeah, good question. Thank you for that. I love that one. What's your favorite move from both yours and Jess's moveset? Uh, from my moveset, I would say that my favorite move is the Key Crusher. No, maybe the Super Key Crusher off the top rope, which sometimes people don't jump, so it just kind of turns into like a fisherman turning suplex. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite one. And the best Key Crusher I ever hit was probably on Loki, who made the Key Crusher famous. So yeah, and from Jess's moveset, mm, maybe her Shote in the corner. But I was telling her one time because I always tell her like just watch more wrestling because she always gets stuck for ideas and stuff like that. Well, this is your question, Jess. To be honest, so so I'm just answering you, talking about you. I don't know, Jessception. Um, yeah, I just told you once. You got to research more wrestling, watch more wrestling, and you watch like Jushin Thunder Liger once, and you're like, I'm gonna do that show too. So I like that, especially when you hit it pretty well. As like if you get a good slap on it, like the crowd is just like, ugh, fuck. So that's good. What date do you want to go on when I get home? Uh, Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take you down to Rebel Wings. There's a fucking 150 pesos, all you can eat wings. So that's a bloody good deal. We'll only get one though. We'll keep swapping in and out. Um, oh no, when we get the wings, or we can go to Sumo again, which is sushi and chicken wings. And I think that's 220 pesos. I got it memorized. Don't worry about it. Um, I don't know. Whatever you choose, whatever you want to do, we'll go and do it. Okay. What do I think of the management? It's in Spanish. Hold on, let me translate this. What do I think of the management of the ex NXT UK wrestlers now in NXT normal? I mean, it's a great WWE's a great machine, isn't it? It's one of those things of just like they know what to do with their talent and where to put them and where to piece them and where to place them, and you might be in the company for a long period of time not doing anything, and then all of a sudden they'll have an idea for you. So I think the ones that have made it to NXT and to the main roster, um, I mean, I think their abilities are being shown pretty well, and I think it says something when a lot of them have been champions. You know what I mean? Jordan Devlin has just won the tag champs with Finn Balor. Shout out to him. Bloody fucking good on you, mate. It's about bloody time. And yeah, a lot of the girls have been women's champs or women's tag champs. And yeah, it was a great place. NXT UK was a great place to develop that skill. And I think obviously that's what NXT is used for, is to develop your skills as a professional wrestler. To then, when you transition to the main roster, you have that whole package to move forward with it. And I feel like that's what they did. That's what they did with NXT UK, and there's a lot of successful people that have come out of it. Okay, Eda, my boy fucking Eda, how's the mate drink that you drink? I don't know, whatever the fuck it's called. I can't remember. What do you think about AAA right now? I haven't really thought about it too much, to be honest. I don't watch it religiously. I just look at the cards that come out. Um, I think right now it's going through a transitional period, which I think it probably is long needed. Um, I think they are probably now pushing the right people to the main event. Guys that genuinely look like stars, act like stars, wrestle like stars. Um, I I don't know. As again, I don't know what it's like now, but when I first started watching it, when I got to Mexico, I think there's just too much chaos going on all the time. There's always run-ins. There's always fucking chairs and death matches and fucking. I don't know what's happening or who's in a storyline with who. And if everybody's running in with everyone, I don't know what means what. You know, I think at that time specifically, they were using guys of a certain caliber lower down the card, probably out of position, um, which is wouldn't be my choice. Um, but I don't know. I had a talk with somebody the other day. I was talking about AAA, and they say AAA has always been about the show, and I see that. But also too, why can't it be about the show and the wrestling? That's the thing I never understand. Like, if you have the talent to do show and wrestling, why is it not about both? Like, come on, like, yeah, you know. And the thing is, they can make exceptions. Like Vikingo did wrestle with Kenny Omega, and people did like that match. So it's clearly there. There's an ability for it. Um, and again, like for me, it would. If you want show, I could slot it. I could go to AAA and give you show, and I could give you the wrestling. It's not hard for me. But that's what I've been raised as a wrestler to do. You know, it's not one or the other. I think it needs to be a more complete package. But I think right now it's on the right track. There's a new management system, or so I see. New management structure. Things are changing. It seems like and I think it has to, because CMLL on the other side is really fucking like crushing it with like bringing in foreign stars and stuff. But again, I said this on a podcast the other day with my boy XF, Baltic Club XF. I said the other day, like, why the thing that I don't understand with Mexico is like they're so concerned about foreign promotions, like going to America. They want everybody wants to go to America again. I know because there's more money and stuff there, but like and more exposure. But like they're so like the companies AAA and CML, they're so concerned with American product and like linking with America, TNA and stuff like that. They're more concerned about making those connections than actually fucking worrying about what's here, putting on the best fucking product here. The the fans are so passionate. I genuinely believe that this market is still untapped, which is the weirdest fucking thing to say considering it's like its own world and AAA and CMLL have cornered their own different markets. But I genuinely believe that there's still more potential here if we just fucking focus more on the storylines here. There hasn't been a fucking hair versus hair match or a hair versus mask or a mask versus mask match. There's genuinely fucking meant something in a very, very long time. As far as I'm aware. Again, I could be wrong on that. But like as far as I've talked to some people and they've told me there hasn't been what why is that? That's all I wanted like that's the cool thing about Mexico. That's the fucking special thing about it. That masks and hair and honor and family legacy and fucking the Mexican culture means something. So why aren't we pushing that fucking agenda um here instead of fucking worrying instead they're worrying about oh my god can Tony Khan give us some TV time? Like who gives a fuck? You know? I could rant about that all bloody day, God, to tell you what. Malik Wrestler, my boy Malik, good day, brother. K-Tau Estadio, and Travis Banks, e Malik. Brother, soon, my G. We'll fucking make it happen, I promise you. And the Fred Dork, why do you hate Riot Lucha? I'm not even gonna fucking. I'm not even gonna fucking give you an answer, Freddy. You son of a bitch. I know you're just trolling because I asked you before and you said you were trolling. So we're not even fucking gonna do that. Okay, one more question, and then I think we're done. What are the three things you always take with you when you go wrestle somewhere? Okay. I mean, obviously, it's like my gear. I mean, outside, I guess we're talking about outside the obvious things, right? Aren't we? Okay. There is, I always take 100% of the time fucking, uh, what's it called here? Like Vicks Vapor Rub to like put in my nose for when I wrestle. It helps me breathe. That's a fucking must. That must be in my bag always. Um, Also, I need my mouth guard, and it's somewhat for aesthetics, but it's also because I don't really trust the dental system here in Mexico, so I'm trying to protect my teeth with my mouth guard. Second thing, now, so those are kind of whatever, but the third thing is really, really important to me. When I won the Progress World title, my dad and my mom got into the ring and celebrated with me. My dad, I don't know why he did this, or like, like I didn't even like see it coming or anything. He gave me a greenstone necklace. Now, greenstone is a very like traditional Maori thing, um, in New Zealand, and my dad had a greenstone necklace that he, I guess he might have bought for me, or it was his. I'm not sure, but when I won the title and he got in the ring, he gave me the necklace, and I fucking take that thing with me everywhere. It's always in my bag when I travel. It's yeah, it's just always in my wrestling bag, and I don't know. I'm not superstitious, but I feel like at least at the very least, it feels like a piece of him is with me as I travel and I wrestle, and yeah, and if it's not on my bag when I like for whatever reason, maybe I've changed bags or something, and it's not there. I get a little bit like, oh, I need to fucking find it and put it in my bag. You know what I mean? So yeah, so those are probably my three things: fucking Vicks Vapor Rub for my to breathe properly, my mouth guard to protect my teeth, and a greenstone necklace for my dad. So yeah. So that will be it, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Where can you find me? Instagram Travis_Banks13, TikTok at Kiwi Buzzsaw. Travis Banks Dash Pro Wrestler on Facebook. those are my social medias, guys. If you've liked this, do a subscribe, do a bloody thumbs up, and share this with your bloody mother, bloody lovely, and yeah, and just really fucking appreciate everybody stopping in and sending me messages about the podcast and stuff like that. I really bloody love to see it. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.